How often do you come across an AI language model's answer that is inaccurate, false, or just outrightly nonsensical? And doesn't the model give you this answer with utmost confidence? It never tells you that it's not sure or that it doesn't know. Of course, if you ask it to find something very specific, it may tell you that it couldn't find that resource. But it doesn't really know how to be uncertain and express it. It starts hallucinating. Have you ever wondered why that happens? Well, it's because the current training and evaluation behind these models reward guesswork over acknowledging uncertainty. In many cases, the model makes a guess and passes it off as a fact. In this episode of EyeSight or AI Sight, we'll talk about how AI can just completely make things up. Of course, there are other reasons that lead to hallucinations as well. Flawed training data is one. Let's take an example. An AI model that is trained on a dataset of medical images could learn to identify cancer cells. However, if the dataset does not include any images of healthy tissue, the AI model may incorrectly predict that healthy tissue is actually cancerous. Basically, lack of complete and well-rounded training data. Now, OpenAI has just published a paper which says that AI language models are known to produce overconfident falsehoods which impact their utility. This error is popularly known as hallucination. Naturally, it differs fundamentally from the definition of hallucination in humans. Of course, OpenAI's ChatGPT also hallucinates, as do other platforms like Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, etc. What makes these hallucinations even more dangerous is that they are mostly plausible. Imagine you've been presented with a set of 5 facts, and you know as a matter of fact that 4 of them are completely accurate. You are not so sure about the 5th fact, but it sounds plausible. You think to yourself, if 4 facts the AI model has thrown up are correct, it's likely the 5th one is too. And that's why it's important to never trust AI blindly. Not yet anyway. Remember when Google's Bard chatbot incorrectly claimed that the James Webb Telescope had captured the world's first images of a planet outside our solar system? Let me also give you a personal example. After having watched the Netflix show Adolescence recently, I asked ChatGPT to give me a compilation of what the reviews were saying about the show. I was curious about the reception the show had got. And while I was reading through its answer, I came across the mention of a whole scene in the show that I just didn't remember. I began questioning myself and even thought that maybe I had dozed off towards the end of an episode. Turns out, ChatGPT just completely made up an entire sequence. So, what does science say about these AI hallucinations? Why does your friendly neighborhood AI sometimes lie to you? The OpenAI paper titled Why Language Models Hallucinate says that hallucinations persist partly because current evaluation methods set the wrong incentives. Most evaluations of these AI models measure performance in a way that encourages guessing more than honesty about uncertainty. Think about it like a multiple choice test. If you do not know the answer but take a wild guess, you might get lucky and be correct. Leaving it blank guarantees 0 marks. In the same way, when models are graded on the percentage of questions they get exactly right, they are encouraged to guess rather than say, I don't know. Before we go any further, what are these evaluations? How is an AI model evaluated? And why is a machine hungry for a reward? AI model evaluations are systematic tests that check how well it performs. For instance, there is a simple QA evaluation. One of the basic tests, it uses data sets of simple question-answer pairs to test an AI model. A large set of concretely factual Q&A pairs is used to assess if the model is accurate or not. So, why does a machine need a reward? Well, a reward for an AI model is just a number that it tells the training algo how good or bad the model's output was. Those designing these models use it to train them for accuracy. Let's look at an example. Suppose a language model is asked for someone's birthday, but it doesn't know the answer. If it guesses September 10, it has a 1 in a 365 chance of being right. Saying I don't know guarantees 0 points to it. Over thousands of test questions, the guessing model ends up looking better on scoreboards than a careful model that admits uncertainty. OpenAI says that there is a simple fix to this problem. AI models should be penalized for confident errors more than they are penalized for uncertainty. They should also get partial credit for appropriate expressions of these uncertainties. The paper said that this idea is not new. While it has been used by researchers, it's not enough to just add a few uncertainty-aware tests. If the assessments keep rewarding lucky guesses, models will keep learning how to guess innovatively. Now that we have discussed why AI hallucinations are hard to get rid of, let's talk about where these factual inaccuracies come from. The errors are always around facts and not stuff like spelling mistakes or wrong punctuations. Why is that? AI language models first learn through pre-training, a process of predicting the next word in huge amounts of text. During this pre-training, spellings and punctuations always follow a fixed and consistent pattern. So, with time and scale, errors start disappearing. But think of an arbitrary and a largely unknown fact, something like your friend's birthday. These can't be predicted from pattern alone and hence the hallucinations. Now, there are some conclusions of this paper that are important to mention. The paper finds that accuracy will never reach 100%. Why is that? Because regardless of model size, search, and reasoning capabilities, some real-world questions are inherently unanswerable. But at the same time, hallucinations are not inevitable. Language models can abstain when they are uncertain. And most importantly, even though evaluations for hallucination already exist, all of the primary assessment metrics need to be reworked to reward AI for being uncertain. Counterintuitively, hallucinations could also have some use cases. Imagine art and design. With its hallucinations, AI could end up creating surreal visions, something that has a place in art. Think of gaming and virtual reality. AI hallucinations can generate virtual environments that have a new world feel or add novel visual experiences. So, how can hallucinations be prevented and what role can the users play at the end of the day? Preventing AI hallucinations requires multiple safeguards. Using high-quality, diverse training data is one. Clearly defining the model's purpose and limits is another way. And applying response constraints could also be useful. But at the end of the day, human oversight is absolutely necessary. Outputs need to be validated by humans so that their subject expertise can fight fabricated information.